All right, folks. Welcome to Nino's Corner.tv. I'm with Ron Partain once again. We're just going to kind of spitball it here. Lots of stuff circling around social media right now, man. They're putting fencing around the White House, around the Treasury. An explosion just went off today in Washington, D.C. Everyone's senses and antennas are on high alert. Everyone kind of knows something's getting ready to pop off. Uh, People that are within the in information crowd kind of say that the coming days, not even coming weeks, coming days, that a terror event could happen in America on American soil. A lot of high profile arrests could be in preparation right now. From what I'm hearing, there's just so much chatter out there. So I'm going to spitball it with my man Ron here. Ron Partain, welcome to the show.
What's happening, brother?
And yeah, let's just get into it. But first, folks, get your collagen. Get your collagen. As we age, our body's natural collagen production declines, leading to visible signs like thinning hair, brittle nails, joint discomfort, and worst of all, wrinkles. But it can't help you if you're ugly. Remember that. That's right, collagen, or the lack of it, is one of the leading causes of wrinkles and
You're
sagging
fucked.
skin. Unfortunately, most typically found on store shelves don't provide the right type of amount of collagen necessary to combat the wrinkles. This is why I use multi-collagen, and I'm obsessed with the results. I'm seeing it in my own skin. Multi-collagen provides the 5 types of premium collagen that my skin needs to look more youthful. I've seen smoother skin, more elasticity, fewer fine lines, and a more youthful glow, folks. Plus, it really makes it mixes well with my morning coffee or tea. No clumping and zero flavor. Grab your bag now while it's 51% off. 51% off at Health with Nino. Plus, order today and also receive a free VIP live health and fitness coaching for life, a free ebook titled The 14 Foods for Amazing Skin, 60-day satisfaction guarantee, and free shipping on your order. Once again, folks, hit the link below and get started on some collagen and looking young again. But like I said, can't help you if you're ugly. All right.
Your permit's done.
Yeah. Whew, there's so much going on. I'm going to pull something up here, and it's just pretty crazy, man. It's, you know, to me, it seems that there's a lot of indicators and signs, right now that something could be getting ready to happen. And a lot of people are pointing fingers at Israel, the Iran war, a big distraction. The MSN comes out and talks about how basically, oh, we didn't destroy all the reactor sites. Almost like they're setting the narrative for something to happen here and put mud on Trump's face. Like, well, it happened, and that's because Trump didn't finish the job. Whatever. I'm looking at all sides here. But what I am looking at right now is this the barricades getting put up around the White House, and then an explosion today happening in Washington, D.C. So large barricades erected around White House and Treasury. There it is. And so a video circulating on social media shows construction crews erecting large scale barricades around the White House and U.S. Treasury building. This has prompted widespread speculation about the reason behind the sudden security measures. Do you think it's because they're voting for the big, beautiful bill, or what? I mean, do you think there's a threat?
Um, that's a good question. I'm not sure if it's for the big beautiful bill. I think the left has pretty much come to the realization that that's going to pass.
Yeah.
It has to. I mean, if we're going to weather this storm, it's going to have to pass because that's what's going to that's the essentially the funding for the next year.
Right.
And we have similar sources, and I don't want to give out too much of things that I'm not really supposed to say. But I'll say that I have heard rumblings that in at the beginning of July, call it the first 2 weeks of July, that there could be some really magical and
Fireworks.
explosive things happen.
Fireworks.
Yes.
So it says, I believe they're getting ready for the New Kings protest on July 3rd or 4th. Well, that's probably one thing too, but now let's analyze this. There are going to be the No Kings, it says New Kings, but No Kings protest July 3rd. There is going to be that. So they would time it with something, wouldn't they? wouldn't they time the protests and things of that nature to coordinate with some kind of attack? That's what I would do if I was on the left.
Maybe, but I think, see, the thing about the no kings thing is that is an event that is on paper and everybody knows it's going to happen.
Right.
So, my humble opinion is if they're going to take, from what I've heard, it's going to be more along the lines of sleeper cells being activated
Right.
all at the same time. I don't believe that that's something that's going to occur while a protest is going on. I
But
just
don't
don't
you
think
think they
so.
would need their so-called quote unquote foot soldiers out on the streets when this happens to cause
No,
chaos?
I think no, because I think something like what you're talking about, what we're talking about in terms of like a sleeper cell thing. My feeling is on that is that it'll be unleashed when somebody least expects it. It'll be a surprise attack, like at 3 o'clock in the morning, where they just everybody just goes out there and and they just start all at one time across the board. If it's like,
But I keep hearing about July 4th, don't you? I mean, I don't
well,
understand.
yeah,
I mean,
I'm
and
not.
now that we're putting it out there, why would they, you know, to me, it seems like, okay, we're already putting it out there. People will be expecting this. So it can't happen on July 4th. They'll have to wait for another time or date when we're least expecting it.
Well, I mean, that could be that could be tomorrow.
Yeah.
I mean, when if you're going to go around and hit neighborhoods, when are you going? I mean, when are you going to have the highest probability of causing casualties?
When people aren't expecting it, when people are out on the
But
streets, densely
no, oh,
populated
okay. But
areas.
during the day, people aren't at home. People are at
Right.
work. And if they're going to hit suburban areas, that it's going to be on a weekend or it's going to be in the middle of the night, in the evening, in the early morning time when people are home asleep. They least expect it. So I mean, that's just and me. That's just thinking, strategically. I could be totally wrong, but that's just thinking strategically. But I think the important thing to note here is that this is nothing new. What we're talking about in terms of sleeper cells and training camps and all these things that have been here. You remember a couple months ago when the police, everything was in Colorado, and they pulled over that one vehicle that had like 180,000 rounds of call them freedom seeds, and it was that van was being driven by two men from, I think they were from
Yeah.
Mexico. Yeah.
Right. Well,
So,
so I have, good contacts here on the border. Obviously, I've lived here all my life. And the people that I'm talking to, like, they tell me, like, geez, man, you won't believe the shipments that we're stopping right now. So they don't really know what's getting through, what's slipping through their fingers, but they're saying that there's a lot of agents that can get people sick, and I'll put it that way on FluffTube, that can make
mhm,
people sick and attack our agriculture as
mhm.
weapons. And then not only that, they're stopping military grade weaponry, and they're coming over like gangbusters. So it
Well, and
looks
you're
like
only
all
talking about,
systems go,
and honestly, you're only talking about the southern border. You're
right?
not talking about the northern border.
No, I'm just no, I'm
And
just talking about this area here on the southern
I
border.
get it. But what I was listening to a Julian Dory podcast. Not actually exactly sure when it happened, but I believe it was within the last 2 weeks of when it was recorded, um, or at least certainly when it was released. The point of the matter is that he was interviewing this Canadian female who was a journalist who is covering cartel activity, and they she's she talks very authoritatively that the cartels realized that the border was going to be kind of a point of contention to try to get stuff across, and the easiest thing for them to do would be to relocate all of their resources and stuff up into Canada
Mm.
because the Canadian border was wide open. and that they have been doing that for quite some time, specifically when it comes to you know, drugs coming across the border, as well as you know, trafficking of a variety of things. Um, that doesn't mean that it's all coming in from up there, but the northern border is a point of it's an extraordinarily weak point. In fact, the northern border is twice as long as the southern border, and almost all of our resources are, you know, pointing down to the southern border right now.
Yeah, and I look at this with the reason I brought this picture up with Benjamin Netanyahu is just because, today it's Tel Aviv, tomorrow it's New York. To me, that's a threat.
Whatever, that dude. You know, I don't know if you've seen the montage of him going back to like 1992 when he keeps. I mean, it sounds like a climate denier. You know, it's just or it sounds like somebody who's pushing that you know the um I'll just say CC narrative for change, if you will. Um, but it's like, oh, you know, in 10 years we're all going to die. You know, some
Yeah.
cataclysmic
Well,
events going
I
to
think if
occur.
people are paying attention to the stuff that's going on with Israel and Iran, there's a lot there.
Well, I'm not,
There's
but
a
I'm
lot of
not.
meat on the bones right there, man.
Perhaps, but I'm not talking about that. I'm simply saying that he has been pushing the narrative since 1992 that Iran was 2 to 3 at most 5 years away from having a device.
Well, that's my
Now,
point. So finally, he gets the war, right? He finally gets that Iran Israel
right.
war, and now it's stopped. And he's probably sitting there with his pants down, going, "We need something now. We definitely need something to kickstart this back up."
Yeah.
So that's all. That's the only reason
I
I put him up there.
and I get that. You're that has some merit. I can see the merit that you're talking about there. I don't look at I don't look at Netanyahu as anybody who is a credible source of intelligence. I view
Are you
Netanyahu
kidding me
as
right now?
somebody who what's that?
Are you kidding me right now?
Yeah, I don't believe anything that guy says.
No,
That guy
yeah, that's what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, yeah, correct. But intelligence he is deceptively. I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
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 okay. So I was like,
yeah.
wait, what are you talking
Yeah, no,
about here?
I
He
think
knows it. He's cunning. He's deceptive. He knows exactly what he's doing.
yeah, they call that chutzpah.
Oh, it's fun.
So
Yeah.
so yeah, he's got he's got it in spades, and I don't trust him at all. So I don't trust anything coming out of there. I mean, if you go look at I mean if you just look at what um you know their book, their holy book, and I'm not talking about the Torah, I'm talking about the other one that starts with a T. If you look at what their holy book says in terms of what they can do and what they can do, I mean, it's almost it's they not only can they lie to people who are not of their heritage, it's
Right.
actually encouraged for them to lie
Encouraged.
to.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just had Trader Girl on X,
Mhm.
and she was talking about targets, potential targets, and she makes. Let me tell you, she makes a lot of sense, and she brings a lot of substance to her research and to support it. And it's pretty, and we know how they do things. They like to hide things out in the open, right? So one of
Mhm.
the big targets that she's talking about is right here is the Golden Gate Bridge, and just so coincidentally, now this is on here it is. This is on my Nino's Corner.tv where we're going into it, but look how they're telegraphing right here. And I pay attention to stuff like this. So August 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, Golden Gate Park, Dead and Company, uh, and basically the Grateful Dead, or I guess it's either
Mhm.
them,
Yeah.
or I don't even know if they're alive anymore, but it's either them or a tribute band playing at the Golden Gate Park, Dead and Company. And she lists reasons why the Golden Gate Bridge is a massive target. And you got to kind of file this stuff back and pay attention to it. At least I do, because we know how they work and we know how they kind of hide things out in the open. So,
Well,
and
it's
look at,
projection.
yeah,
It's
projection. Look at
projection,
what it
and
says here on the blimp,
yeah.
Deadco. I mean, it's just,
Well,
I
Dead
don't
and
know, man.
Company. I think Dead and Company is the name of the Grateful Dead tribute band.
So well,
And
yeah, but so there you go. I mean,
uh,
hiding it in the open, showing it, putting it right there in the open for everyone to see. Do I think it could be like a ritual before something happens? That's what I'm kind of like looking at here. That's why I think it has some validity because, dang, I mean, wouldn't that be something they do?
I possibly, but I think it's going to happen before August. I think it's going
Yeah.
to, but well, but who knows? I mean, it could just be piling on. I don't know how long what we're going to face is, in terms of happening is going to happen, but it's not going to. I don't think it's not going to be, a day or two. It's going to be, maybe 3 weeks to 3 to 6 weeks to 2 months. I don't know. So
I definitely think the summer. I'm on board with that.
mhm.
I think the summer, but gosh, man, I just the
Let me share. I'm going to share something on one of
go
my
right ahead.
on my screen here. So this is. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a Sean Hannity clip from. Oh, I don't remember exactly when this was, but I mean,
Long
he's
time ago because he looks
clearly
young.
young. Yeah, here we go.
Before you do that, I'm going to go ahead and show something real quick. I'm going
Go
to show
ahead. Go
Tulsi
ahead.
Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard's threatening warning. And look what she shows blowing up right here. I'm going to go set it back a little bit. I'm going to enlarge the screen, put it about right there. Play.
Whereas today's nuclear warheads range in size from 100 kilotons to over 1 megaton. A single nuclear weapon today could kill millions in just minutes. Just one
Boom,
of
look
these
what she's
nuclear
showing.
bombs would vaporize
I
everything.
can't see it.
Bam. Golden Gate Bridge. You can't see it?
Oh no, I don't see it.
Okay, well, the audience
That's
should
okay.
be able to see it. But here it is, folks. This to me is very telling. I mean, they always choreograph or telegraph what they're going to be
A
or
single
telegraph what they're
nuclear
going to be
weapon
doing.
today could kill millions in just minutes. Just one of these nuclear bombs would vaporize everything.
And see, this is what Trader Girl talks about on my program on ninoscorner.tv, folks. You got to get over there and watch that. And she gives all the reasons why this thing is a major target. And she believes it's going to happen this summer. And that's what's going to walk us into the golden age and the great. A lot of people are calling it the great noticing when this event happens. It's going to be a time when people really take notice. When we're going to go into maybe darkness, I don't know, and high profile arrests. But in order for something like that to happen, it seems to me just common sense. And I don't know about you, Ron, but I don't feel like Trump could just come out and start arresting people right now. I think something would have to happen to 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 captivate people's attention and then kick off the arrest. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that's true. I think that's true. There's validity to that. Clearly they can't just go in there and start arresting people. You just can't do
Right.
that.
I mean, he's letting the drips out on his True Social. All roads lead to Mr. O, and
Hmm. I saw the
putting
video.
videos up of the deep state actors, but it's still, people are still ignoring it. But the people that are paying attention, like myself and other people like you and other people are watching this going, okay, we see what you're doing here. Drip, 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 and then boom. But what's going to be the boom?
I do not know the answer to that. Well, I think the boom is going to come in the form of coordinated sleeper cell attacks.
I do too. And a lot of the people that I'm talking to right now have gone radio silent on me and they're out of the country. Like I'm talking like people I usually talk to every day are just now radio silent. Like that's a big red flag for me unless
Hmm.
I pissed them off or something, which I don't know, but whatever.
Well, I don't think you pissed anybody else off. I think they realize that, hey, you know what? It's things are about to happen and they don't want to be in the crosshairs. And I can't.
I don't know if they think they're scared of me kind of leaking something. I'm not going to I don't betray anybody's trust. So
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I try to keep a
No,
lid on everything that I'm told. I only put out there what I get permission to.
I don't think that they're
But the radio silence is just kind of bothering me right now. It's like a lot of people have just gone quiet, and I'm just hearing all this chatter from people that I don't even usually talk to much, saying, "Dude, get ready, fireworks are about to begin." And the only thing I can equate to fireworks is July 4th. And I'm hoping nothing happens. And I feel like if we talk about it enough, nothing will happen. You know what I mean? Kind of does something to the matrix, you know?
well, I can't there's no way I can log in. I don't have a Zoom account, and let me see if this has closed captions. Okay, so I'll just play this with closed captions so that you
Okay.
can read they can read it.
All right, folks, read it. The group is responsible for over 50 attacks on U.S. soil and over 35 compounds right here in our very own nation now.
Yeah, and this, I don't know when this was.
Now, a new investigation by the Christian Network Action Network has uncovered some disturbing information about the spread of homegrown terrorists and what they mean for America.
Now, I will say that I do not believe that these are homegrown terrorists. I believe that these are actually Islamic terrorist training camps that were funded and created by our intelligence community
I agree with you.
within the United States. So, and they've been importing people. I think this is going to sound a little crazy, but I honestly believe that one of the reasons for the highly restrictive rules of engagement that were placed on our military in the Middle Eastern theater over the last 20 years were specifically designed to minimize casualties on the other side, but at least give them battlefield experience. And what they do with that is now they take people who have been in those situations, and then they bring them over here, and then they're less fearful because they're more prepared. So, can you still see my screen?
Yeah, I see it like a.
Okay, so here is this was as of August 9th of 2018. There are at least 22 verified camps, and I don't know what the
So we know where the camps are, and we're doing nothing about it.
well, I don't know about that. I'm not going to say one way or the other.
I'll tell you this: I've had
but
Christy Hutcherson on my show, and she's actually like actually filmed some of these things
mhm,
and come out and talked about it. She goes, Dave, they are everywhere. These camps, these training camps are everywhere. People have
I
no
agree.
idea what's coming, and that's what she says on on my show quite often. I'll bring her on again, but it's obviously they're getting ready and they're going to be allowed, and I'm going to say that allowed to do something. 'Cause,
Agreed.
yeah,
Now take a look at this. Now this is an article from the Daily Mail, UK, and they want to blame it on white supremacists. So it's always white supremacists, right? Yeah, okay, but whatever. But they're
July
saying
4th
over
weekend.
why would a white supremacist be engaged in who? Typically speaking, the DHS definition of white supremacist is somebody who's going to essentially be hardcore conservative, pro USA. Now, why would somebody who is a hardcore conservative and pro America want to destroy it on its birthday?
Yeah.
I mean, does that even
When was
logically make
this?
sense?
June 30th.
Yeah, this is like this is of
Oh,
2021.
2021. Okay. I
Yeah.
was like, wait, that's today. Or
Yeah,
that's tomorrow.
but I still there's still validity to this. It's just
But
I think
don't you
it's
think, Ron, don't you think that a lot of these threats have been neutralized since Trump has been in? Because I know
like
for a
some
fact,
I certainly
unless,
I believe some have absolutely 100%.
because I know they're waiting for the right time, but to be activated. But I would imagine a lot of the organizers and orchestrators of this stuff have been taken down because I know for a fact here, a lot of the cartels are getting taken down. And
Mhm.
I keep hearing this. I mean, and where I ride my dune buggy, where you and I went shooting in the desert,
Mhm.
right next to there's the airport where Chapo Jr. and 𝗬𝗏𝗀 got busted right there, just about a mile up, maybe less than a mile, where I took you when we went shooting.
Yeah, I remember. The I mean, take a look at this. So this gentleman, what was his name? Some Smith, Brandon Smith. So he wrote this article back in December of 2024 on his open borders have created a terror attack time bomb in the United States. And then he did a follow-up article on January 9th of 2025. And he said, terror attacks will kick off in 2025. It's only going to get worse, so be prepared. And see, this is something that I thought was very interesting. This right here is an amicus brief filed by the United States Department of Justice, Pam Bondi's office, and it is in defense. They're actually the federal government is actually coming out in defense of this guy Caleb Barnett. And there's, or excuse me, 𝗬𝗏, I guess. Whoever the defendant is, I don't know. Whoever the person is being charged with firearms crimes or whatever, they're being charged, and the federal government is coming out in defense of the individual who had the firearms against the state of Illinois. And this is a court case that's actually being heard at the appellate level in it was either district or appellate, whatever, in at the federal level within the Seventh Circuit in Chicago. And they talk in here about they put in here in terms of the defense. It says for self-defense, targeting, and public defense. They're talking about how the Second Amendment is, but the air does not fall within the unprotected category, as explained below. It is in common use by law-abiding citizens for lawful purposes, including self-defense, target shooting, and
public defense.
Public defense. Now, what is public defense? The public defense is a let me see here if I can find, because there's a few other cases in here where it talked about most popular weapon chosen by Americans for self-defense in the home. Lawful purposes including self-defense, charging. Let's see, it was I think it was civil, where it so collective self-defense. History confirms what the Second Amendment's text suggests, that possessing weapons for the common defense was a core aspect of the pre-existing right to keep and bear arms that the Founding Fathers codified in the Second Amendment. The court's non-militaristic limitation on arms protected by the Second Amendment, thus understood. Is, see here, it's like I'm going to find the word because it's the here. This is the big one. The requirement that the people be responsible for collective self-defense had implications for all types of arms that the people could or indeed must possess. After all, a militia would be useless unless the citizens were able or enabled to exercise themselves in the use of warlike weapons.
Right.
Okay. So now this is the Attorney General of the United States, and coming in and putting in an amicus brief, and an amicus brief is essentially like a friend of the court. They don't have they don't have any standing in the decision. They're not involved in it, but they're coming out and they're making a statement to the court, to the judge, in defense of one of the two parties. And the party that they're defending here is the person who's being charged with weapons possessions in the state of Illinois. That's the federal government. So that just shows a big shift from the Trump White House to from the previous administrations, where they would have absolutely come out in defense of the government trying to take away the arms.
Right, and
now they're saying, no, we're trying to make sure that these people are able to keep their arms, because and one of the reasons they cite here is that the requirement that the people be responsible for collective self-defense had implications for the types of arms that people had.
Right.
Or indeed must possess. So, and they're
Well, a
talking
militia
and
would be useless unless
exactly.
citizens are enabled to exercise themselves in the use of
So,
conditions.
yeah. So anyway, it's just
Like what?
those are a few those are just a few things that I had to share with, with you, just to show you it's like, look, there's definitely stuff out there that is on the from the government side that is a change in mindset as to how we should be looking at what's coming.
I personally don't think there's any way out of this, dude. I think it's coming, whether we like it or not, and it's
Oh,
gonna be
yeah.
and it's gonna be allowed to happen in order. I think I have a lot of guests like Mike King is one of them who says this is all big, just a big production, and it could be to some extent. Like I said, if they were able to pull it off with the moon landing, I'm sure they've gotten a lot better and a lot more orchestrated and a lot more elaborate. But what I think here is we're simply just intercepting black hat moves and making them our own in order to take America into the right direction. And let's face it, Ron, you and I both know there's a lot more people that need to be woken up or need to wake up. And the only way you do that is through a traumatic event, unfortunately.
That's true. I have Mike King on my show generally every week. Every Tuesday night he comes on for the most part. And he is much more of the opinion that this is all just a sideshow, that everything's already happened,
Yeah.
and it's just a mop up effort at this point. And I have a tremendous amount of respect for Mike. I think he's very well read, has a keen mind for spotting things, but I respectfully disagree about it all being over. I think what I look at it is, when they say, if you say patriots are in control, to me, what I see is, it's like, if I can use an analogy from World War II, it's like, okay, it's 1943. We already know that the tide of the war is shifted, and the initiative is now on the Allied side, especially in the European theater, and in the Pacific theater for that matter. But you still have 2 years of fighting left to do. So,
And
I
I
mean,
and I think this cleanup's going to take not months, but years. Could even be decades. Who knows?
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I think the cleanup is going to be a whole lot faster than people think, because I do believe
The initial first round, second round maybe, but as this goes on, I'm sure there's a lot of people.
I think you're going to get into an area where people are the people who are here as sleeper cells. They may still have the desire to to want to carry out orders and whatnot, but I think they're going to find out they're going to be vastly
No,
outnumbered.
I'm not talking about them. I'm talking
Okay,
about
who are you talking about then?
like politicians, people involved with trafficking
Okay.
of intricacies. I think it's just going to go that part. The celebrities, politicians, people that are trafficking,
I get you. I
minors.
get you. I get
Get
you.
it? So I think that's going to be those takedowns are going to take months, if not years, in my opinion, just to keep happening because there's going to be so many people connected and they're going to find
Well,
more information.
the sheer volume of that
Right. That's a
is, I
big,
mean, you can't, I mean, that's like taking a squirt gun to a forest fire. I mean,
right.
there's way too much in order to try to curtail in just a short amount of time. It's physically impossible. Um, but that doesn't mean that they can't go and just round up a whole bunch of people and put them into isolation facilities.
That one's going to be, they're going to try to use for us, folks.
Mhm.
You
Well,
know,
that's and I know Juan talks a lot about Purim, and I agree that that's a good analogy. You look at if you look at the Book of Esther and what it was all about, and how we are the people that they're coming after, and all of the traps that they are, and the mechanisms and things that they have been using to try to get us, either entrapped or um things that they had in store for us. Those are the things that they're going to actually fall victim to.
right. You know, I had Chris Sky on, and he was kind of the one of the OGs.
Love that guy.
Yeah, one of out of Canada, real outspoken and opinionated and very voiced vocally on his social media. Obviously, he's not a big Trump supporter anymore, which I was
I
surprised to see that. But
I didn't see that. I didn't see
yeah,
that.
well, he came out on my show. He was on my show yesterday, and we did a quick update. And I remember we talked in 2020, and we had some shows together. But he was relaying information that I didn't just hear from him. I've heard from a couple other people that a lot of Jewish people are leaving New York in droves. Like they're getting the hell out of there, and they're saying, well, it's because of the new Muslim primary winner, that Zohan or whatever his name is,
Mhm.
that just won. But there's also a lot of rumors that something could be coming, something's looming, something's getting ready to hit New York City. And you add that with what Benjamin Netanyahu said, like it's Tel Aviv today, could be New York tomorrow. I'm just wondering, and I'm just posing the question to my audience. What do you all think? Put it down below. Do you think, obviously, we know New York would be a big target, but do you think they're leaving? The last time we saw this happen was in 9/11, and before that, World War II, right? Well, they're doing it again. So, what's your thoughts on that, Ron? And also my audience. I'd like to know in the comments below. You got the memo?
Well, uh, I got the memo. You don't get that reference?
Yeah.
Office Space. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That's a great movie.
Yeah. I got the memo. Anyway,
I need to watch it again.
yeah. Anyway, it's possible. I'm not, I don't put anything behind them. I know that during 9/11 they did have there it was some sort of social media app that was emanating out of someplace in like Tel Aviv or something like that. That was telling people not to go to work.
It's just
So
interesting. It's just interesting. I mean,
um,
Chris Sky said that businesses are closing up and they're leaving, and now this is just the source. That's the source I'm getting this from. I've heard from other people some rumblings of that, but I, could there
well,
be? What?
I think um, okay. FDR said this a long time ago, and I think I have no love, no love for that guy. But what he said was that nothing happens in politics by accident. Nothing. So the fact that this guy this guy beat Cuomo, and you've got AOC in there, and all this shift towards democratic socialism and whatnot. I don't think I don't think any of this is accidental. In fact, it was really interesting. I don't know if you saw it was an X thread that came out. I don't know if I think it was from back in like 2021, and it talked all about AOC and how she just happened to just come out of nowhere.
Yeah,
That is not, if you actually dig into her past, she came from a very privileged house. She came from a house that her parents were very likely involved in the intelligence business. She was over in Africa at a certain point in time in this African country. And then right after she left that African country, guess what happened? There was a government coup in that country.
yeah,
So anyway, all that to say is that, she has been involved. She was not just a bartender who just happened to win
right. It was a casting call, basically. It was
yeah, I call absolute BS on that. There's no way in hell there's no way in that's way too simplified and romantic of a story. That is not what happened. AOC was deliberately put there. So,
Let's look
and
at Zohan Mamdini, his rap career. Have you seen this?
mm,
So this guy, man, like he had a rap career before politics.
Zoran, who is running for mayor here, who also has a rap career as Mr. Cardamom. We have figured out.
Yeah, he was a rapper known first as Young Cardamom and then Mr. Cardamom. And I don't know, his music's pretty cool.
It's a lot like 𝗧𝗏𝗏. This type of stuff.
I was thinking of the same thing when you said
listening to some of it and learning some of the history that like even before the running for mayor and stuff, like he had a video in 2019 go kind of viral, not because of him, but because of the celebrity chef and actor that was in it. One of his songs was on the soundtrack to a Disney film that he was the music supervisor of and his mother directed.
I mean, look how involved this guy is and the connections he has in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Disney. Have you seen with Disney?
Film connections in there too.
It's been a very musical New York City election this year. I mean, Rolling Stone is right.
I mean, it's just crazy to see this, right?
That is something that I had not seen that. That's interesting. That's very interesting.
I mean, you gotta everything is so engineered and so.
Think about it from this perspective. They're running out of people.
Yeah.
The left is literally running out of people who can make convincing arguments. Everybody that they've got is the left is fracturing into two different wings of the Democrat Party. You've got a Democrat Party that is not keen on going full socialist, and you've got another element of another side that's like, oh well, hey, this is the way we need to do it, and it's like as if the as if socialism has not failed every single place that it's been tried. What is this?
Just showing some footage of what a nuclear attack would look like in the year 2025, it says. And that how it would, and of course they say 2025. Let me see what it says here. What if nuclear war broke out in 2025, the first hour of the end? It says here.
That right there looks like it's a scene out of Terminator 3. It is.
I guess that's how it would look, right? Zoom, zoom. If you believe the earth is round. Who knows?
Yeah. I don't know. I absolutely.
But I mean, they're putting out a lot of the fear. It's predictive programming, right?
Definitely predictive programming, but I don't believe that we're going to have a nuclear exchange.
I don't either, but I think we may have a nuclear scare.
Possibly. And there very well could be a nuclear detonation someplace.
Right. But I mean, an exchange, right. I agree with you on that. That won't happen, but the desired scare event will. I believe we're overdue for that. Or right on time, however you want to look at it.
I was a little surprised at the support for Israel and going after, sending the B-2s over to the Persian Gulf. I was a little surprised at that, but in hindsight, looking back on it, it was definitely they gave them fair warning in advance, and I think it was like a wink and a nod. It's like, okay, hey, we're coming. This is when we're going to be there. Make sure your people aren't there. And we're going to drop some ordnance and it's going to hit this and this and this. And we're not going to do any significant damage to anything, but we're going to try to make it look like it's significant enough to pacify, Netanyahu. I don't know.
Right. It's going to be interesting how this all unfolds, man. I just, my guess is as good as anybody's on here. Leave your comments down below, folks. Let us know what you think. We're just speculating here. We're just kind of, I definitely feel like we're in the window, though, and I'm sure you do too. We're in that window of the next move, the next phase of this operation, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. I think it's going to involve an event. So that's all I can say. I mean, just to the people that I've talked to and just intuitiveness, I think we're in that next phase, and it's going to involve the event, maybe a series of events to wake people up. But I think we're there. And if it happens on July 4th, in my mind, good. Let's get it over with. But I think the window is this summer, and it could be a series. My guess is as good as anybody else's, man. Let's just see. Let's hope and pray it's not that bad.
And I just wanted to look, I'm with you. It's like, look, I know there's a lot of people out there who are fatigued. They're just sick and tired of it, and they've probably been awake for maybe 3, 4, 5 years, maybe 6. Dude, I've been at this since 2004.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you think you're fatigued,
and even if it happens, I think when it happens, we're going to be so tired anyway. We'll be like, all right, well, here we are.
But I'll be honest with you. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of anything. I'm not afraid of it. I'm not afraid of what's coming. What's gonna. You can't control it.
Here's how I look at it, though. I think it is controlled to a degree. I think it's kind of like watching the Vegas hotel demolition.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be something like that, controlled to, they're going to have some threats neutralized, and I think they're going to allow certain things to happen. And, there will be casualties, but not like they were supposed to be. That's just kind of how I think it will be done. But like I said, man, it's a guessing game here. I'm totally guessing like my audience is. I don't claim to know it all or anything like that. And
I agree.
That's why I bring so many different guests on the show, because I think everyone has a voice and a piece of the puzzle to add to the picture, and that's that, man.
Well, here, I'll leave you with this, and I'm gonna have to be extraordinarily vague, but I'll just say that I have a friend who I have to be very, very careful and very cautious with how I say this.
You know that this is fluff tube, so
yeah. Well, it's not about fluff tube, but it's about protecting something. It's about protecting somebody else. Suffice it to say that I heard it from a good friend who heard it from somebody.
Heard it from a friend who
exactly. I'm
heard
not
it from a friend.
I ain't doing no REO Speedwing.
Heard it from another you message.
REO Speedwagon or Air Supply or whatever the hell it is.
You walked into that one, buddy.
Yes, I did.
I can't even believe I remember that song. Thanks for giving me that flashback of the old lady.
Exactly. So, but suffice it to say that the individual who was the speaker said, it's happening in 2025. Be ready for it. It's happening in 2025. Now, after the event and was over, this individual went up to another contact and asked about what was said, and the contact said, yeah, I'm just really shocked that it was verbalized. And this, you got to remember.
At least, so you and I can agree. You and I both agree.
Well, let me say this. You got to realize that it was verbalized not to a group of just regular civilians, but it was verbalized to a group of people that are in first responder community, whether it be
get ready.
Police, law
Homeland Security put out an alert too,
something like that. Yeah. So anyway, I don't know. I can't say when, where, why, who, or how it all that came out, but it was, I'm just expressing what I heard, and I've heard ultimately from about 3 different people something of the same variety. So whether it's that's not evidence of anything, it's completely anecdotal. I acknowledge that, but I think that we would be you'd be foolish to avoid it. Yeah.
Summary of the threat to the United States. This was just out, I think, in June 22nd. There it is, 2025, folks. Summary of the threat to the United States. Oh, look at this. June 22nd to October 22nd of 2025. So we're in that window right now.
Yeah. So it's the 3. It's well, you know what? That's very interesting, because you know what that time frame is right there?
What?
That's summer.
Well, yeah.
And
so when does summer end? The 21st?
It's June
September
20, it's June 20th to September 20th.
Well, we're right there, man. We're in it now, folks. We're in that window.
Because March 20th is the summer, or is the spring equinox. June 20th is the summer solstice.
And when did we bomb Iran?
I don't remember. That was the
summer solstice right there.
Was it the 20th?
Yeah.
Okay.
21st, I think.
In any event, it's just, some may or may not remember the term or the phrase that it's going to be a very hot summer.
Yes, I remember that. That being said, folks, leave your comments down below. We're out of here. Thanks, Ron, for joining me. God bless everybody, and stay safe. Stay safe. Thank you, Ron. God bless.
Later.